Morning, Damien here from Affordable Staff, and today I've got Eva and Mark Taylor from Taylor's Property Management Specialist down here in beautiful Bondi. Thank you for joining us today. Now, Mark's been a client of ours for almost 3 years now, I think, isn't it, Mark?
So it'd be
almost
just
3
on,
years?
just over, actually, 3 years.
So thank you for your time. I suppose I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about your journey with us, why you decided to outsource, and I suppose give other business owners that are in the property management and real estate world a bit of an idea of what to expect, what challenges you found along your journey, and just
what it's like 3 years into a journey, because a lot of people are considering outsourcing at the moment, and it's becoming quite popular at the moment. But 3 years ago, that was a whole new. It was new
in the industry. So I suppose let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Why did you decide to outsource?
I guess the bottom line for us is we had to move my team away from doing the low value tasks and to focus on the high value stuff. We'd moved from a traditional real estate agency to a specialist agency.
Because you used to have sales.
We used to have sales.
Traditional real estate sales, property management, the whole lot.
We now just focus on property management, and with that, it brought an expectation of a much higher, and we have now a much higher expectation of standards. So I didn't want my team doing low value stuff when I'm paying them for high value stuff. Was financial consideration one of your considerations when you started looking at outsourcing? Was it, well, hey, I can save money here, or was it? Was there other? I guess yes. The short answer, yes. Yeah. The longer answer is. And the bigger picture is, if you're paying your local team a lot of money, you need them to be focused on the high value stuff, and they don't have time to be doing the low value stuff. So you've got to
enjoy doing the low value
and they don't enjoy it too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I fully agree with that.
You were probably going to say
it was a reprioritisation of task, really. Let's face it, and growing and going forwards and growing the business. It allows my senior team to be focused on what they're good at.
No, that's good. So, trust.
Yep.
Why is trust important to you? And listen, trust in a property management business is everything, because it's not a short-term transaction.
No.
You're partnering with landlords and even some tenants for a long period of time. So, is trust an important factor when you were considering outsourcing?
Very much so. Critical, because when you look at it, you're opening the door to an overseas company, or whoever. You're opening your doors to your data, your network, your everything. So you've got security aspects to consider. So it's critical from that aspect. And the other aspect is the trust that the team you're blending two teams.
Yes.
An overseas team and a local team. So you've got to make sure everything is right, so both teams work as one.
Sorry, I'm nearly. And I know you touched on security, but I know security is one of the things that when I'm out talking to business owners that always comes up around, is my data protected? How do you protect my data?
Are they going to sell my database?
Yeah, sell database. Even down to now agreements going. We've got agreements going with lawyers, and they're checking that stuff off just to make sure it ticks the box around data security and principals' obligations nowadays. So, so it's one of those. Trust is, I think, for us, one of the most important parts of our business. Making sure that we're on the same page. We're partnering with our clients on their journey through this, and you've been on it now for almost 3 years. So,
well, speaking of which, how did when you got into it? Why did you choose us as a company? How did you get?
You came highly recommended by a consultant that I value.
Hello, Vass.
Thank you, Vass. And let's face it, in those days, no one else was doing it, or there were very few doing it. And I just liked how you did it. I was comfortable when Damien and I sat down and we went through and you explained what you're doing. I was very, very comfortable.
I guess with the early adopters back then, there was very few actual managed offices. And so there was a lot of people working from home, and the trust factor was a really big issue, especially back then. Yeah. So Yeah, makes sense.
So, big question. Do you think outsourcing is taking jobs away from Australians?
I don't believe so, no. And I think for us it's about leveraging the strength of our local team and moving the focus away from the low, as I said earlier, the low value stuff to focus on the high value stuff. So to me it's about leveraging the qualities you've got here and the expertise you've got here.
So touching further on that, I guess, so you obviously haven't reduced in size from the team here, but have you found any limitations from your team perspective, from a process perspective, when it came to outsourcing?
I think in answering the question, the short answer again would be no limitations, but again, I come from a very process-driven I'm a very process-driven person in a very process-driven, especially property management environment. So I think if anyone's going to look at doing this, they've got to look at your processes and break them down. Well, in fact, we just pulled them apart, broke them down, smashed them, to be honest, and then rebuilt them with the view of having an outside, an overseas team.
And I remember that was a big job when you guys took on the
It was a huge job. And we literally grabbed a process. We went through every process. We grabbed one, stripped it down, put it on the whiteboard, workshopped it with a team, and then rebuilt it.
And so what is the property manager's role? Where is the BDM coming? Where does the leasing agent come in? Where does the VA come in?
Yeah.
Perfect.
It does take time though.
Yes.
It does take time.
And tweaking. And I think if you don't...
And what a constant tweaking too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you decide to move office.
Yes. That's another story.
Speaking of offices, it sounds like you're getting some renovations upstairs. You can hear the hammering actually.
No, it's a development site 2 doors up.
So I know the management, working with the management team here, there was a fair bit of input in how they wanted this to work. You've had a change of staff over that period of time. So Gibran was one of your original team members, now one of our trainers and team leaders in the office. And also, and one of your other team members actually left the business. So you've got 2 new people in Cedar. We've had 4 people working for you over this period of time. How have you found your processes, and I suppose that change, because it's a concern, again, another concern is, are my team members just going to keep coming and going and coming and going? And how have you found your processes and the systems and the support around, especially around changeover? Because it is scary getting new people into a business.
Well, it is, and I must admit that turnover, the offshore turnover, is a lot less than the turnover we have locally. So, you've got to expect it in locally, so you've got to expect it overseas too. So,
I think in your situation, you were actually personally a little bit unfortunate because Gibran applied for a team leader's role in our business. So, it's unusual for our team to leave us, but he actually stepped up to another role.
Yeah.
So,
look, which is great, and for Gibran, it is great to have that sort of promotion within the business. But for us, in building our process, we incorporated in there that eventuality anyway. So it doesn't matter if it's A or B or C or D. The process is there, the training is there. When there's a replacement, they just step in and be trained up and away they go.
And I suppose I want to extend a little bit on that. Your team that you have, and you've got 2 team members over in our office in the Philippines. They're part of your team.
Yep.
They're part of your not part of your local team, but they're part of your team. Communication with them, how you've got phones, so you literally can pick up a telephone, call them.
Yep, they're part of our system. Rather than them sitting literally in the next cubicle, they just happen to be overseas. But to get them, we just dial 306 or whatever the number is, or 307 or whatever.
I think 306 too.
And you get them.
Yep.
So they could well be just next door. They're just in our local phone system. They log into our system locally. It's as if they are next door.
But I think one of the observations that I've made from a HR perspective from our office in the Philippines is that what your office has done tremendously well, and some offices do it extremely well, some of them could improve. But you've really made your offshore team feel like they are part of this team, like they literally belong here. And I think that comes also through with the quality of the output as well, because they feel appreciated, they feel welcome. So yeah, well done. But I think it sort of works both ways in your office. So your local team do also feel like they're part of your team here as well. So
yeah, and I guess how we do that. They're part of our email distribution list, for example. They are part of the team. They're part of anything they do, but they get the emails. They get the internal emails, whether they're local jokes or whatever, the local news. They get it. They get in on the birthday list, for example, and they'll wish our team happy birthday as the. So it is definitely two ways. Yeah.
So talking about local team, how have they found working with a couple of people that aren't sitting aren't sitting in a cubicle behind them and aren't even in the same country?
They've adopted it very well. Very, I wouldn't say there would be anything negative there at all.
Did they think that? Were they worried they were going to lose their jobs initially?
No, and that was because I guess sold them the dream. I worked through the journey and explained the journey with them, and they understood my dream of removing the low-value tasks off them for them to focus on the high-value.
Was there any resistance from any team members initially?
Yes, on some that had those. I had members that had very closed minds. They're no longer members of our team, but that's life, isn't it? You know, there's the bus, you get on it, and there's the journey. That's where we're going. If you don't like the journey, well.
But usually those people are also resistant to any form of change in the business. So it's not whether this change, it's what systems you're going to move into, software or whatever else.
And bearing in mind, we've had our journey over the last 3 years has been dramatic. So that has the vision and the journey has been very clear.
I think it's one of the things that I've noticed when you walk into offices that the integration's working really, really well. The team seem happy here. Yeah. They're bouncing around, and it's one of those, the local team, and I know the offshore team are happy too, but there's that real cohesion and bouncing around.
Vibe.
There's a vibe. When you walk into the office. What difference has offshoring and outsourcing made to tailors over this 3 years? Because where you were 3 years ago, I suppose I call it the journey, because you just watch businesses go through these steps as they get further and further along. What difference has it made to your business?
Again, it's probably a common theme you're hearing, but again, with the focus on the high value stuff and allowing the team to be touching our clients in a much different way than what we used to before. The offshore team has been able to remove stuff that my property managers just don't need to do anymore. They know it's done in the background, which is fantastic. So it's allowed us to have the higher touch. Really, that's the bottom line.
I guess one final question I have for you, Mark, is what would you say potentially to any agency out there that's considering outsourcing?
Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it.
Someone once wrote that as a nice little slogan, but
Nike, wasn't it?
which is a theme I say to my team. But look, it is a big decision, highly worth it. A lot of work has to go into it to get the benefits from it. But
so it's not like you just throw in a body into your business. No. You have to plan for it, you have to prepare for it and get the systems ready for it. If you don't know how to do it, get someone to help you to do it.
To help you do it, yeah. The implementation and then the integration has to be spot on. Otherwise, you've got 2 people up there just twiddling their thumbs or something. You just don't want that.
Yeah.
No.
But it's. I found it invaluable. Yes. Couldn't do. To be honest, I couldn't do without it now. I couldn't go back 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Cool. Well, Mark, thank you very much. We appreciate your time. It's always good to come down here to Taylor's when we're in Sydney. drop in.
You just want to go to Bondi.
I do just want to go. I do like Bondi. I actually thought there was a shopping centre across the road, but it's actually a few streets down, and I kept telling Eva this morning, just go to the Westfield across the road. Just go to the Westfield across the road. So, Mark, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. I know you're a very busy man, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks.
Thank you.